I basically buy the plan off the internet. I then take the plan and I bring it into Picasso, which I then export into AutoCAD, and once it comes into AutoCAD I then scale the drawing. So basically I can establish a baseline, then I establish how big the actual drawing is, and then I make note of the size of the object, and then I scale the drawing, and then I reproduce or trace the actual line of the part I want. I then send it to my CNC, which is actually a laser. This is laser software, and then when I click on start, so this is the K40 laser, and it's hard to see through the screen, but it's running around at the moment and it's marking the timber. I'm not actually cutting it, I'm just basically marking it. So I've got the laser turned right down. It's only on 25% power, but in software it's even less. And what it's doing at the moment is it's converting an AutoCAD drawing into a series of lines on a piece of timber. That makes it so easy to cut out. And what we then do is, once the board's marked out, we take the actual marked out board, which ends up like this, and we place it on our scroll saw. Now the scroll saw is basically goes up and down at very high speed, and very fine line, so that we can cut out all the parts. So then what we do is we create a bucket of parts, which is like over here. These are all bits and pieces for the car, bits of grill and all sorts of stuff. They all get sanded and painted, and they end up in, once they're sanded, kind of like this, and then we put it together once it's all painted. So we end up with parts which are like this part here. Probably about 50% of this was laser cut, and a lot of it was cut on the scroll saw, and we also use CNC machine over here as well for the bigger parts. So we actually use CNC over here, which is a computer controlled router. The router will actually run around and basically cut all the parts out, which is really cool. Anyway, I just thought I'd do a little video to show how the process works. There's more parts in here which are drying. I'm actually using the fan in this extractor to actually dry components. It's one of the things I find is it's so frustrating, is waiting for things to dry, and it's been so cold lately, it takes forever to dry, so it gets very impatient. I get impatient. I just like to get things done. So this is a part for the car. It's a side panel piece. So what I do is, this is what they call a scroll saw. So I scroll saw this out, and then we obviously then finish it, round it, and then do anything else we need to do, and then we basically assemble it. So that's how you make a wheel. It's all laser cut. It's all basically laser cut, or marked I should say, and then I just bandsaw it, and then I'll drill it through the center, and then I'll sand it to make it round, and then I'll shape it. So this is the next part. Take our little wheels, yeah. So then after that, we then run the router around and we then drill it out. So this is a router. It has a cutter in there. It spins at very high speed, and it has a bearing on the top which is allows things to roll against it. These are the wheels we just been cutting out. So I'm about to route them. Needs a bit of sanding, but that's the way we round them out. Takes the edge off in a predictable way. This is a flap sander. It basically has flexible pads of paper which are coated in sanding grit, so it wears away, so it takes forever. This is a 60 grit one, so we're going to use that to sand the wheels. A little bit rough, but it basically lets us turn that off. A little bit rough, but then what we now do is we basically then finish that off by hand. So yeah, got 4 of them to do. We then drill it out. I'm going to counterbore it to make it a bit more interesting with what they call a force and a bit. I'll actually use a couple of them. So this is what they call force and a bit. It's a great big drill, and then what we do is we can then drill into there and create like a hub effect for the wheel, and then we might drill another one which would be a smaller one which creates another step. Just makes it a bit more interesting, and then we through drill it with a 6mm, and then we set that up for the axle. I've just changed over to another force and a bit now. This is a little bit smaller. So that's that. Now I'm going to just do a 6mm hole through the middle. Yeah, so next step, 6mm hole. You've got to hold these things with the mouldy grits because they can get away from you real quick, I'll tell you. Looking good. And then, so wooden axle. Voila, we have one little wheel. Don't you love it, man? A bit of sanding and obviously painting, and I'll probably paint the tyres black, and the inside I'll paint I don't know, something else to make it a bit more interesting. Anyway, it's all good. Time for lunch. So this is the Caravan toy that I'm making. I've just fitted a little bed in there and made a little kitchen unit. Hope you'd like my sink. I think it looks really cute. The stovetops, the burners look a bit high. I don't know how you go putting a pot on them, but anyway. So this is one of the side panels, so that's going to get reattached to that. I'll have to finish this off a bit more. I've got to clean it. I'm going to paint the door and essentially just tidy it all up. But yeah, it's looking okay. For a couple of days work, it's not too bad. That's where we're at the moment. So the little car, I've been cutting out all the parts of this thing, and yeah, it's kind of getting there. I'm just in the process of touching up the Caravan. I pulled one of the strips off and I'm going to redo that, but the little car is going to need a lot of work. But yeah, it's kind of cute. Going to have a grille on the front, headlights, tail lights. I have to do the roof. I'm having a lot of fun here.